There is a specific kind of silence after someone skips your song. Not a comfortable silence, not a neutral one. The silence of something being evaluated and found lacking. And the strange part, the part you never fully admitted even to yourself, is that it wasn't just the song that felt rejected. It was you. You said nothing. Maybe you even laughed it off. Oh yeah, that one's not for everyone. But something in you quietly closed. A small door carefully shut. And the person who skipped it had no idea they'd even been near it. That response is not dramatic. It is not thin-skinned or childish or too much. It is one of the most psychologically precise reactions in human social behavior. And it reveals something about the relationship between music and identity that most people spent their entire lives circling without ever quite landing on. We are going to perform a full autopsy on the moment someone skips your song. Let's start with something almost nobody talks about. The act of making a playlist at all. You didn't just select songs, you made decisions. This one for the drive at night when things feel big. This one for when you need to remember who you are. This one because the bass line does something to your chest that you have never been able to explain in words and stopped trying to. You arranged them in a sequence. You considered the transitions. You spent 45 minutes on something most people would call a background activity. A therapist would call what you made a self-portrait. Every track a sentence, the whole thing a document. And then someone pressed skip. Psychology has a name for what music actually is to the human brain. Researchers call it an identity anchor, an external object that carries internal meaning so dense that the brain processes it almost identically to how it processes core beliefs about the self. In 2012, researchers North and Hargreaves published work showing that people don't just use music as entertainment or background noise. They use it as a primary tool of self-definition, a way of signaling to themselves and to others, this is who I am, this is what I feel, this is the version of the world I live in. You don't just listen to music, you identify with it. And identification is personal in a way that almost nothing else is. This is why you feel something when someone says they don't like your favorite artist. Not just mild disagreement, something closer to the feeling of having a belief challenged. Because on a neurological level, that is precisely what just happened. There is a specific window in your life when the music that will matter most to you gets chosen. Neurologists call it the Reminiscence Bump. Between the ages of 12 and 25, your brain is undergoing its most dramatic period of identity formation. You are deciding, consciously and not, who you are, what you believe, what kind of person you will become. And whatever music accompanied that process gets wired in at a cellular level. Not as preference, as architecture. The songs from that period don't just sound good. They are something. They are the acoustic texture of becoming who you are. And this is why a song from that time can stop you on a street corner 10 years later and put you fully back inside a moment you thought you'd left. Not just the memory of it, but the feeling, the version of yourself that existed then, the exact weight of who you were. This is not nostalgia. This is your nervous system reading its own original code. So when you hand someone access to that, when you pass them the OS chord, when you share your playlist, when you say, here, listen to this, understand what you are actually doing. You are not recommending music. You are extending an invitation to see you. The playlist is not a collection of songs. It is a map of your interior. The artists you've kept private for years. The tracks that live on your phone but never get played around other people. The one you put on when you are alone and finally feel like yourself. Handing any of that to another person is, psychologically speaking, one of the quieter forms of vulnerability that exists in human relationship. And vulnerability, by its nature, can be met or missed. Here is the part that makes this hurt in the specific way it does. You didn't share the song to be impressive. You didn't share it to prove you have good taste. You shared it because something in you believed, briefly, quietly, hopefully, that the song would work the same way on them that it works on you. That they would hear what you hear in it. That for a moment you would be understood not through words or explanation, but through something that bypasses language entirely. Music is the closest thing the human species has to direct transmission of feeling, and you tried to use it. The skip doesn't just end the song, it closes that transmission. And what the silence that follows often contains, if you sit with it honestly, is not offense. It is something lonelier than that. The quiet realization that the thing you offered as a window into yourself was not received as one. This is worth knowing. The people who feel a song skip most deeply are almost always the same people who formed their deepest emotional language through music rather than words. For some people, especially people who grew up in environments where direct emotional expression was complicated, unsafe, or simply not modeled, music became the primary language. Not a supplement. The original tongue. For these people, a shared song is not a casual gesture. It is one of the only available forms of saying, "This is what I mean. This is what I feel. This is what I cannot find another way to tell you." When that gets skipped, what aches is not the song. It is the sentence left unfinished. You don't need people to love everything you love. But now you understand why it is not about the music. It never was. The next time you feel the specific sting of a skipped song, before you close that quiet door, before you laugh it off, before you say it's not for everyone, let yourself know what actually just happened. You tried to be known. That is not weakness. That is one of the braver things a person can do. And the people worth sharing your playlist with. The ones who pause, who ask you to replay it, who sit inside the song with you instead of moving through it, those people are not finding your music. They are finding you. Tell me, is there a song you've never played for anyone? One that feels too yours to share? I want to know. And if you want to understand why your brain holds onto music from certain years of your life like nothing else, the next video goes exactly there. It is stranger and more beautiful than you think. Welcome to Being Shared. You are not broken, you are human.